Alright, what's up guys? This time we're going to be reviewing the Focal Clear against the Sennheiser HD800, my current flagship or ex-flagship headphone that I currently own and use personally. So, I kept these in favor of the 800S a while ago. No, that's not true. My friend let me his 800S and I said, whatever, that's not the point. Point is, I liked these, and I've kept them for approximately 6 months. I think closer to 8 months, if I'm not mistaken. They've been good, and they've been good to me, for sure. These things are beautiful, they're shiny, they look so nice, and they're so comfortable. However, a new kid is on the block. Not so new, but newer than this kid for sure. We got the Focal... I was about to say the Focal Kids. The Focal Clears here. And the Clears offer a very, very unique thing as well. So we're going to go over the pros and cons here, what each headphone beats what headphone in what category, and why. So let's go ahead and get started with the build quality and what they come with as well. So the Focals come with their own box. It's more of a packaging box. It's not like a display box. It comes with its own case, however, and let's go ahead and show the case again. Let's go ahead and hope the headphones don't fall off the ledge again, in case you saw the previous comparison. This right here is the Focal Clears case that it comes with. It is a very nice woven fabric case that comes with enough room to store your focals in and a cable. By the way, that's a 3.5 millimeter right there. And it is a very, very nice case that would cost you $150 on Amazon, brand new alone. Just the case. So just in case you wanted to buy it, well, there you go. But if you buy a pair of Focal Clears, you don't have to buy it because it comes included. Anyways, that is one of the big distinctions right here. This does not come with a carrying case, but it does come with a display box, and that display box is right in front of you. It's so beautiful. It's dusty, but that's not the case's fault. That's my fault because I'm dirty, apparently. And it is beautiful. It is quite beautiful. It lets you store the headphones in like a somewhat velvety, loose material, you know. And they just look so beautiful on display. I love them so much. I love this display box. And the HD600s as well, even though this one looks more premium. I was quite disappointed that they didn't include a display box, but after seeing the Focal Alexis box, I kind of didn't want one anymore because they do not know how to make a display box. And I'll go into detail as to what that means in... I think the following comparison? Yeah, the following comparison. So, build quality of the headphones. As far as the winner here, I'm going to say it's the Clear because they're made entirely out of metal, just an FYI, with the pads and headband being Alcantara, or this Alcantara-like material. The pads wear down quite quickly, but that's a good thing because of comfort, and we'll get to the comfort pretty soon. But yeah, these are mostly made out of metal right here, and you should have no issues as far as the build quality is concerned, with the externals at the least. Internals, like drivers and everything else that's going on inside, I couldn't quite tell you because Focal has not been around for that long as far as headphones are concerned, so we'll see how they stand the test of time. Sennheiser's on the flip side. The HD800s are made mostly out of plastic, don't be fooled. It does look like silver metal, but it's actually just painted plastic. Now, it is good plastic, don't get me wrong, and it does keep the weight down, which is quite a good thing. And the fact that they went with a silver finish looks very premium. However, if you can see right here, in a couple of areas here and there, you can notice that it does get stained quite easily, and it does get scratched quite easily. I did not put these in, someone else. I bought them pre-owned, and the other person had already laid down these scratches, but you know what, its overall condition is quite fine with me, and I have no problems with that whatsoever because they still, from far away, they look quite beautiful, and I have no issues with them whatsoever. But yeah, as far as the build is concerned, I want to say that the Focals are going to take it just because they're made out of metal versus plastic. Come on. And pre-owned, they're like at a very similar price range. So anyways, these come with 3 cables. They come with a 3.5 millimeter, that's 4 feet in length, a 4th millimeter, that is a 6 to 7 foot length, and an XLR that is 6 to 7 feet as well. Great, and I'm glad that they do that. Good on you, Focal, but not good on you, boo on you, because the cables that it come with, and I'm going to show you the XLR because that's what I've been using it with, but it doesn't matter because they're essentially the same material and the same terribleness. This right here is the cable right there, in case you can see it, in case my camera ever decides to focus up. No, okay. It's made out of fabric. It's a woven fabric and it looks nice, but trust me, it does not feel nice. It is quite terrible. It is quite terrible. But hey, at least it functions and it gives you time to get something else. Although I will say the connectors themselves, like if you can see right here, come on. If you can see right here, that connector right there, oh, so beautiful. It does look beautiful, but at the cost of like, this feels like terrible. It just feels terrible. Where on the flip side, the HD800s don't necessarily come with the best cable in the world either. It's similar. It's, you know, kind of woven like that, and it's kind of bad. It looks like a vacuum cleaner cord, but believe it or not, it's actually more comfortable than the Focal's cable that it comes with. So, congratulations, 800, I guess. Anyway, as far as the comfort goes, yeah, listen, HD800s take it, but that should be no surprise to you. These things are a beast when it comes to comfort. They float on your head and they practically feel like nothing. But you should have already expected that. Now the Focal on the flip side, because of their weight, they do weigh down on you quite a lot, and it can be quite annoying. Yeah, I'll just leave it like that. It can be quite annoying. I don't like it. I really, the comfort is, in the mornings I would put them on and I'm fine because my head is like stress free. But in the afternoons, you know, I'm feeling fatigued and stuff like that. So I put these on and I can't have them on for more than like 30 minutes before I have to take them off. And I have to go back to like HD800s or my 600s or my K7XX, etc., etc. That's just one of the downsides right there. They're not very comfortable. As far as the clamp level on these go, it's not too clampy, and it's not like, there's no like real lack of clamp or excess clamp. It's just the weight plus the clamp really adds up and it feels clampy overall. And they are smaller cups, by the way. So I should just mention real quickly, my ears are relatively small and they fit in here just fine. But if I move the headphone a little up or a little down, it's going to definitely pin my ears, and I'm going to feel it. Not necessarily like in a painful way, but I'm going to feel it. Whereas in the HD800s, if these pinch your ears, you must be 100 years old, because these things are huge, huge. It should not pinch anybody's ear, okay? So you shouldn't worry about the comfort on these whatsoever. They are a bit of an adjustment because initially they do feel a little too loose and not clampy enough, but you get adjusted like in a matter of a few days, and you just learn to like not bob your head so much, and you get adjusted to how little clamp force there should be on these headphones. So nothing to worry about there. Now let's jump into the sound. Look, as far as the bass is concerned, the clear is the clear winner. They just provide a more full presentation. They extend deeper into the bass. The bass guitar sounds slightly more articulate, but it can be a tad forward, just a tad too forward. And in some tracks, that does get annoying. Not a lot of tracks, but in some tracks it does. And I'll go into more detail about it like in the overall section. But yeah. Now, the bass guitar can be considered a slight laid back on the HD800s, but really it's just a matter of personal taste here. Like, these do have quite deep bass, not super deep, but, you know, definitely deep. Good enough for a Summit Fi headphone, but it's definitely in the bass light region for sure. So that one's just a matter of personal taste. But as far as bass performance goes, the clears are going to take that one. Now let's jump into the mids. Once again, the clears take it over here because they are more refined, they are more detailed. The female vocals are more forward and articulate, and the male vocals were quite, honestly, the male vocals were quite similar among the two. So I really don't have a preference there, nor did I notice an improvement in one versus the other. But just because of the overall intensity of the focals, these kind of felt like they lacked focus in a way. It's just a matter of adjusting, of course. You'll adjust to these versus adjusting to these as far as that's concerned. But because of how intense they are, these feel like they're just trying to like get your attention. And these feel like they're just, you know, they're not very focused at all towards the sound. What else? I mean, as far as the vocals are concerned, they sounded a little more clear cut on the HD800s, if I'm being totally honest here. Not necessarily like focused, just you were able to discern them amongst all the other sounds and instruments a little better. So there is that kudos for the HD800 for sure. But on the focal clears, the lower brass popped a little more. They had more low end and articulation, and they did feel a little more whole as far as the mids were concerned. So there is that item to consider. Now, treble. So the clear take it, kind of overall, the clear take it. And here's why. They're still treble forward. They're less treble forward than the HD800 in some aspects, but not as much. They're just a little less treble forward, just a bit. So they're more linear by comparison, and you can choose to turn down the treble and the EQ if you desire, but they do have that metallic timbre going on that it's such a flaw for the headphone for what would be an otherwise, near perfect headphone, honestly. HD800's treble is emphasized as well a bit, but the treble here is more spiky and forward in comparison. So the difference between the two is that you could stand the treble on this, in my opinion, because it sounds more smooth and just uniform overall. Whereas here, you're just listening to something and you're hearing it go up the bass frequency, the frequency response, and then you're going like, oh, whoa, that's a massive bump. And so the treble is spiky and more forward in comparison. Thankfully, EQ can be applied, which, not most people, everybody should be doing, or using a tube amp, whatever works for you. These are a tad bit airier, but at that cost of the jumpiness that occurs in the treble. So they both suffer from a spike at around 6,000 to 6,500 hertz, but I'm just saying it's more apparent and unlistenable on the HD800s without an EQ. And that's despite the fact, that's despite the fact that the focal clears are still more forward and engaging as opposed to the HD800s. So now the soundstage. HD800s are wider and they have more breathing room, honestly. So I'm going to give it to the HD800s here. Some argue that it is a bit artificial, but frankly, I still find it enjoyable. Maybe I just lack, I need someone to show me like, this is the soundstage. This is the soundstage, which frankly, I don't think there is. I don't think there quite is such a thing. Artificial, fine, but unenjoyable, no way. I absolutely love the soundstage on these. I'm not saying it's my favorite, but it's huge and it's enjoyable. What's next? Imaging. Frankly, this one's kind of a tie. It is quite a tie. See, one beats the other in some situations and vice versa. Ultimately, they're just about equal. However, the HD800s have a cleaner presentation, which means that the instruments each have more room to stand out. Why? Because of that soundstage coupled with the fact that they're not as intense. So they have more of an area to just lay back, chill, and let you find the instrument and enjoy that, as opposed to just pushing everything at you all at once like a bunch of second graders wanting to buy I don't know, like a lollipop or something. I don't know. So overall, both are excellent headphones, but I must declare a winner here. And if you ask me, just if you had to have one headphone and just use that, it's tough. It's really tough to declare a winner because, see, I wrote down the clear. I wrote down Focal Clear to be the winner, but look, as far as every category put together is concerned, the Clear edge their way past HD800 by a smidge for the following reasons. They have better overall balance. The accessories it comes with are more plentiful. They have the better sub-bass extension, and they do have a smoother treble response. However, the HD800s have their own list of benefits to consider that still make them a valuable headphone. For example, the bassline frequency response makes them better for some genres. So an example of a track I listened to, part of the the soundtrack for Ip Man, that would be Maestro. The lower percussion, the dun 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 dun, was really overdone on the Clear. And quite frankly, it just didn't let you enjoy the track because you were just listening to that over and over and over again, distracting you from all of the other Oriental instruments going on, you know, and the Oriental ambiance. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. You can totally listen to it on the Clear. And again, you can EQ at like 83 hertz and 180 hertz. If you'd bring those down by 1 to 2 decibels, you'll be in the Clear and they'll sound kind of similar to these. But still, it's not the same. Just these excel at soundtracks so much more because of how huge and flexible they are, as opposed to these where they're stuck on overdrive. They're just stuck on overdrive, really. Now, again, the comfort, much better here. The soundstage is wider, and the treble spikes can be EQ'd. Also, the Clear have that metallic timbre going on, so they're really not that perfect themselves, man. The metallic timbre it's a real hindrance there. Sure, like I said before, it's just a flavor thing, you know. If you like the Clear, it's just a flavor. It's a flavor. That metallic timbre is just a flavor. But you know what? That flavor derails it from being an otherwise like near perfect headphone, in my opinion. So out of the two, which did I like the best? Quite frankly, the HD800. I think the HD800s are, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something about the Clears that just, like, it feels like I'd have them for like a week or two and say, oh man, these are awesome. These are great. And then I'd find myself missing my HD800s again because, I don't know, there's something about them that makes you come back. There's something special going on here. Whereas with these, it's just, oh, you know what? The perfect example. For those of you who remember my 4XX versus the 600 comparison, remember, these were the mistress, fun to be around with, give you a good time. But then after a while, you got to come back to the wife. The wife is your life, you know? All right, I'm starting to get derailed here. Anyways, once again, I mentioned the Patreon. Hopefully, I have set it up by this time. There should be a link down below. Again, you should not feel obligated to give me anything or donate to the Patreon whatsoever. If you are doing this out of your own volition, well, it's entirely out of your own volition, and it is because you want to help support the channel, and in which case, I really appreciate it. You're really going to help me push out more videos and more comparisons, not just with 1 or 2 headphones, but say an entire lineup at once, and help me push out more videos at a time, hopefully. So that's what the Patreon is for. Go ahead and drop down a comment down below. What would you like to see in the Patreon tier list? And what do you think is an appropriate price point for me to put on the Patreon? Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. I hope this video was very helpful for you guys because really, I mean, there are many things, many comparisons out there that just leave someone wondering. So since I haven't seen many of these lying around, I felt like this would definitely help somebody out there. So once again, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helps.